Moving from elementary school to high school is an exciting time and a pretty big step.
The transition between grade 8 to grade 9 for high school, it's not an easy transition for a lot of teenagers. You can imagine in grade 8 you're in a school that you've been in for a few years with 30 kids in each class and maybe a few hundred kids. But when you get to high school, usually the school is much larger. We're talking often schools with over 1,000 kids.
Some of the challenges that teenagers face as they enter high school deal with sometimes study skills. Sometimes they'll find less homework, more homework. They'll find that there are more things to do, and so the distractions are much higher. There's certainly some social pressures to make new friends, adjust their current relationships, but also some academic changes that they'll face in terms of picking classes, because they might go from a de-streamed grade 8 class to now a locally developed or an applied or an academic class in high school.
I think the first thing is to identify that they are pathways. Lots of people like to think of them in terms of a hierarchy, that academic students have to be the smartest, applied students are those that maybe didn't really get the concepts, and then locally developed are your really, really weak students. And we always try to tell people it's not a hierarchy, it's a pathway.
At first, it was a little confusing, if I wanted to go into applied or academic, but the guidance counselors and the teachers, they explained your options really. And then my parents clarified with me to make sure I knew what I was going into. So I've been following through with applied, and I found it at my level that I need to be at.
Some of the things that students can do to prepare for the transition is summer school programs. Literacy and numeracy programs exist. If they're worried about their math or their literacy skills, they can do that ahead of time. High schools throughout the province have visiting days where they'll bring all of the feeder schools in to visit the schools and tour. If they're really worried, a visit to a guidance counselor with their parents is also something that people avail themselves of.
I think part of the process is understanding for them where are they headed to, what kinds of pathways, possibly career paths that they're interested in. And that's hard at grade 8. You're talking about a 13-year-old. And really, are you going to know as a 13-year-old you want to be a doctor, or you want to be a mechanic, or you want to be a civil engineer? I think it's more about not closing doors. In so many ways, mathematics does keep those doors open.
Part of the transition to high school is planning for another big transition, the move from high school to post-secondary education and the rest of life. It's normal for teens to feel anxious or unsure. They are not alone.
Moving from high school to post-secondary education is huge. Probably I spend a third to half of my time with students in grade 11 and 12 thinking about their future.
Do you know yourself? And to answer to that question, you need to identify 3 things. Your interest, what do you like to do? Your aptitude, what are you good at? And your values, what is important for you? And when you know those 3 aspects of your personality, it's far more easier to pick a post-secondary program.
Go with whichever path you want to take. Basically just follow your heart, and whatever you feels right. You can definitely switch, and you can definitely change your path whenever you want.
They are autonomous, we respect their autonomy, but if you feel overwhelmed by your anxiety or about any kinds of psychological problem or emotional problem, there's counseling center in all universities in Ontario to help you. It's impossible today to have a good job without knowledge. But be sure of one thing, there's many jobs for you. The only condition, you need a good education.